when I first met you, you also seem very, or you are extroverted, at least all the times I've encountered you.
Hmm.
Have you always been that way?
Sorry. I'm so
You're
sorry.
good. You're good.
Yeah, I would say so. I think that's part of my personality. The best place to meet people at my school is the elevator and also the workroom. So it's so funny because I just finished my last day at a specific high school and I'm not seeing these people again, and I've been with them 7 years. And more than one person said to me, "You were the first person I met here." And it's because I just go up to people and I just say, "Hi, who are you?" Or "You look lost. How can I help you?" Or something to that effect. Or "I keep seeing you in here. What's your name?" I just say whatever I think.
Hmm.
Um, and they always talk about how they appreciate that. I was a military brat growing up. I moved every 2 to 4 years, and that's part of survival. If you don't talk to people, you don't make a home. And so my brother is very similar. He's younger than I am, but we were just, okay, bring on the next place. Let's make more friends. My youngest brother's a little shy, so he was different. Um, but I always say, uh, you can never meet enough people. The life experience that you get from other people and their point of view is just invaluable, even if it's opposite yours, even if it challenges you in a way that makes you upset, right? Like this person doesn't know what they're talking about. Well, then have a conversation with them and kind of try to open their mind. So I love Houston for that reason because it's just such a melting pot and you come across all kinds of people that you wouldn't come across, just like in the writers group. So yeah, it helps to be extroverted. Um, People ask me for my opinion a lot. I think it's because um, I don't know, because I'm so outgoing. They know that I actually also wouldn't mind taking time to do something. I remember like one time a Spanish teacher was like, "Will you read my son's resume?" It's just like stuff I would. Well, of course, the editing. The editing comes in handy. A lot of people need editing, but yeah, I also try to cultivate friendships beyond work too. And so I was really excited about the writers group because I just want people to geek out with writing about. That's really fun.
Yeah. Do you ever get shy or nervous?
Um, Golly. Yes, I will tell you what. It's around my kids' friends' parents.
Hmm.
Sometimes I don't know, like I feel I don't think they're giving off judgy vibes, but I always feel like I don't know what to talk about. What do you talk about? I feel like I'm not so much older than them, but it's just a weird when we get together, all we talk about is our kids. Like we don't get to know each other on a deeper level. And I think I don't know how to break that. I have a couple of really good friends, but they are the outgoing ones. So I kind of change a little bit when I'm around my son's friends' parents, which is really interesting because they're not mean people. It's just very focused on our children. It's not
Yeah,
focused on us as people. Does that make sense to you?
it does. That's a very
Okay.
interesting example. Yeah.
Okay. What about you? So I knew from the first group that we had together that you were super reserved, but when you open your mouth, you have really smart things to say. So have you always been like that your whole life? How do you typically make friends, and do you like making friends? Do you surround yourself with a lot of people or like a close few?
Well, it's kind of you to say. I would hope to be saying smart things. I think I was pretty shy for the most part, unless like I knew somebody or I had friends. But then I think after high school in particular, it just kind of became it's like a switch I turn on. If I want to be extroverted, I just turn on the switch. If
Hmm.
I want to be a little bit more quiet or reserved, I just turn on the switch.
Hmm.
And so it kind of just fluctuates. But I think in terms of extroversion, introversion, I've kind of grown over the years.
Okay.
Yeah. But similar to you, I really enjoy meeting people. And there's so many people to meet. And anytime I get comfortable with a group of people, something happens and I realize there's more people out there and I just got to meet more people.
Yes.
And it really is fascinating. That's part of the reason I created this podcast, actually. I realized that I would meet so many different people in college but it was kind of like a 5 minute handshake. Hi, hello, we
Yep.
exchange contact, and that's it. You just never really interact with them again. But what if there was a place to talk to them more, get to know them more? And it's like this is one of those. And every connection has an expiration date. You know, it doesn't have to even be bad blood. It could just be death, you know?
Mhm.
But while we're still here, it's cool to interact.
I
You
agree
never
with you.
know. Yeah.
Yes. It's interesting that you talk about college. I think that has a lot to do with my personality too. My college had 400 kids in it. I knew every single person.
Well,
Um, and that's because I went up to people in the cafeteria and just started talking. I loved the teachers. It was a Catholic school. There were monks and nuns and priests, and I just made friends with everybody. And so I was recognized for like a lot of like, golly, if this tells you anything, this is a throwback. I was crowned homecoming queen the first year I was there as a freshman.
uh,
So, and then again as a senior when I was leaving.
well.
It was a little bit of an upset my freshman year. People were a little confused, but I mean that's a voted position. And you never go into a situation with you don't go in for that kind of thing. You just go in, how many people, I think my mindset is how many people can I talk to today? How many people can I encounter? And you know what? When I moved away I lived in Japan for 4 years. I
Whoa.
went to high school there and I had a girl at my bus stop. And every morning she looked so sad. And I would say, "Hi, Melissa, how are you?" And I mean, that's really all. She was like a neighbor, but I didn't talk to her a lot. I didn't hang out with her. She wrote me a letter after we graduated and sent it to me and said that I was the only person who talked to her every day. And she didn't have a lot of friends at school. And she will never forget that just she looked forward to me saying hello to her, even though it was the same words every day, because she was bullied and other things. And she said, I can never thank you enough for just talking to me. And that is so sad because, especially in these days when all high school students are so anxious and we hear a lot about mental health and we have before, it's just so important to remember that the person sitting next to you is a person and they have their strife and we don't know what that is. We don't know what that looks like. And so I don't know why you would walk down the street and scowl at people. Texas was the first place people said hi to me on the sidewalk. Like, "Hey
Southern
neighbor."
hospitality.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It changes your day.
You know, I'm especially curious about this Melissa story. You said you'd say hello to her, but was that it? Would she kind of give back much or just, oh, hi, Jenna, and that's kind of it?
We would talk about like her sisters and my brothers because we were the same age. We were in maybe one class together, but she was a quiet, shy person. And
Mm,
so sometimes we stood and waited for the bus in silence after that interaction.
yeah.
And we might not ever see each other again until we came home. And I don't really remember a lot of conversations on the way home, just every morning. So she had a much different experience in high school than I did. I did the whole class officer, theater, track, clubs, cheerleading. I did all kinds of stuff. I used to call myself the no lunch table girl because instead of really eating my lunch, I would bounce around from table to table and I just talk to people. And you can do that on a military base because everybody has been the new kid. And no one's going to be like, "What are you doing here?" Everybody's like, "Hey, what's up?" So I would go to the skater table and I would go to the theater table and I would go to the band table and then the athlete table. And like nobody looks at you like you're weird. We just need to live in that kind of a society where people are open. People are so closed now.
You know, that's interesting to me because there's a Stoic quote, and I think you're a great person to talk to about this. It's from Seneca, who says, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." And I do see the essence of what he's saying, but at the same time, there's a different intelligence. And that intelligence can be exemplified with what you're saying right now. You were the no lunch table girl. You'd go everywhere. You'd be interacting with people. That's its own kind of power, its own kind of smartness. How do you compare that experience with that Stoic quote? How do you balance them, I guess?
Say the quote again.
He who is everywhere is nowhere.
I don't know if I agree with that completely. I feel like maybe that means you should be really good at one thing and focus your attention on one thing. If I'm, that would be my interpretation. Um, don't get bogged down with all the crazy things in life. Maybe it's not saying be good at one thing, but if you are everywhere, the challenge to that is finding a core group of friends who understand you. Um, I think that, I mean, if I was interpreting it from my stage of life right now, it would be like, don't get overwhelmed. Don't put yourself in so many different positions that you lose yourself.
Hmm.
But I think that, I mean, I wouldn't be a writer if I didn't have stories to tell. And all my characters are based on people I've actually met. So
Yeah,
I don't know that I would have that same storytelling ability if I didn't put myself everywhere. Um,
absolutely.
and there are some places I won't. Like I will look at a table of people and say, "Oh, they don't want anyone to sit with them. I'm good." But that, I mean, that would be more like what I think now. I mean, just to be candid, teachers can be cliquey. It's kind
Yeah,
of like I've worked at schools where it's like high school all over again, where you have your friends and you don't mingle with other departments. Like we're adults. You can now that's not my current school at all, but when I was in Oklahoma, it was very much like people exuding the vibes like we don't want to be messed with, we like the status quo.
yeah.
So, I don't know, what do you think about that quote? I would be interested in your opinion.
No, similar to you, I that quote has always kind of lingered in the back of my mind. I see what he's trying to say, but kind of like you, I feel like I'm someone who is often in multiple places. I'm often with multiple people, and I don't think that's a waste. I think you get something off of that, you know? So, yeah, similar to you, I don't think it's necessarily true, but I see the essence of what he's trying to say.